Alrighty, NT8 on the porch. Today we're going to talk about the KLRs. I think I sent the goat off my KLR in 2012. My muzzle mic has it now. But with so many videos that I put up on the KLR, I keep getting comments, PMs, questions, both ways. So I thought I would try and explain some of my thought process on it. So for now, we're going to start with the Doohickey. And I'm going to put some links down in the box for those of you that are interested in the KLR, that you can check out and see the hazards of not doing the Doohickey. I'm only going to speak about the 2009 and up. I'm not going to speak about the 2007 and down. And the reason for that is the engines are modified a little bit different. So I don't want to speak about the older bikes, other than to say, if you buy one of these bikes, you had better make sure that you do the Doohickey. The latest guy sent me comments on my KLR video. I'll put that link down here too. He says he's got enough people that have talked, that he's talked to, that have 133,000 miles total with no issues without doing the Doohickey. Okay, then he's got two dealers. Now keep in mind, my opinion of dealers are stealers that have a total of 42 years and 33 years dealing with Kawasaki's. And they've never, quote, heard of this issue. Oh, leave him alone. He's just walking by. Leave him alone.
What dog are these?
They're Italian Greyhounds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let them smell your hand. They won't bite you.
They're pretty. Okay.
They're my sweethearts.
I bet they are.
They just think that they're here to defend the world, and they're not big enough to defend anything. They can't even defend their own food from each other, so. Nice talking to you. Okay, number one, a dealership is never going to admit problems with a specific model of bike or whatever. A la my BMW Certeo. Even the fucking manufacturer won't admit that the valve covers leak on that bike. They try to tell me, oh, I ride in extreme temperatures. I'm on my 5th valve cover now. Whatever. I don't really care about that. I don't subscribe to their bullshit antics. And it's the same way with Kawasaki. So what I normally do when somebody hits me with questions about the Doohickey, the thermobob, the subframe bolts, is I try to refer them to KLR650.net. There's a reason I do that. Because before I bought the KLR, I researched the living shit out of that bike. I knew every issue, every complaint from 2008 and on, because I knew they were, quote, two different bikes, but they're really not. But I knew all the issues with the bike. So when I bought it in 2009, most of the 2008 owners said on a 2008 you could run at least 5,000 miles without having to do the Doohickey adjustment. And then I got a hold of Eagle Mike and the guy with the thermobob. And I'm going to do a separate video on the thermobob. But I knew all these issues ahead of time. So what I did was I went out and test rode the bike. I bought the bike. The bike came in. I trailered it home. And then I started riding it. I think this was like November of 2008. I don't think I really started putting up videos till, somewhere in 2009. But in my interactions with KLR650.net, I made a lot of friends on there. And to this day, I still say my KLR was the biggest, baddest KLR ever built. It had Studebaker ammo box mounts, the rails. I even put the front boxes on my KLR. I replaced the rear suspension. The only thing I never did was replace the muffler. I never did the 22-cent mod to the carburetor because I felt like I'm not going to play with the emissions because the bike always ran fine. And Muzzle Mike has it now, and he still hasn't replaced the exhaust or done the 22-cent mod. And Mike and I talked about it, and I said, don't fuck with the emissions, dude, because the bike runs fine. Once you start adjusting, once you change out the exhaust, once you do the 22-cent mod, you have to change the exhaust. And it's just like, don't fuck with it until the muffler goes bad. And then you'll get the tweet. So then you take a long screwdriver, and Everride has got a video up where I told him, punch that son of a bitch out with a screwdriver. Get rid of that fucking tweet. And I think it took him about 6 months, and then he finally did it. Yeah, get that guy. He's on a bicycle. Tell him to get on his motorcycle. My fucking dogs never end. Alright, let's get to the heart of the matter. Let's talk about the Doohickey. Let's talk serious about the Doohickey. I personally never had a Doohickey go bad. But I read enough horror stories that for peace of mind, I did my Doohickey. That's the valve chain tensioner fucking device. I don't know. You look in the links, you'll see it. There's two things that happen. One, the lever itself either erodes out off the shaft or it breaks, or the spring breaks and falls down into the engine. And if it gets down into your crankcase, it gets sucked up. The crankshaft comes down, hits that spring, smashes it, and then you got metal filings all through your engine. And your bike's fucked. So I'm like, I expect this bike to last me 100,000 miles. Now I'm going to tell you right now, don't ever expect a motorcycle to last you 100,000 miles. And I know there'll be Harley guys, Suzuki guys, Honda guys. There'll be all kinds of people that are going to come on here and say, well, I've got 100,000 miles on this one and I did nothing to it. Good for you. That sounds fucking fantastic. But did you just buy the bike and then expect it to do that, or what are you doing? I don't care. Me personally, I research bikes as much as I can. I knew everything about this fucking bike, this BMW, that when it screwed up and I shipped it out to the dealer again at BMW's dime, and I said, here's the part number, you need to replace the goddamn relief valve, relief shaft, compression release. I said, here's the fucking part number that I asked you about before I bought it, and you said, oh no, we don't have any problems with that. I bought one of the first ones in the United States. Where did I learn that? I learned all that from England and Europe. They had already told me that's what was going to go on with that. So they fixed that. But after they fixed that, now I'm on my 5th valve cover. Whatever. I'm not here to talk about the BMW. The KLR, if that spring breaks and it gets down into your engine, it's going to shell your engine out. If it just gets loose and never falls in, you're going to have a ton of vibration and a ton of noise coming out of your engine. Now there's an adjustment on it. You have to take your skid plate off to do it. I tell you what, the GOAT, my KLR, her name was the GOAT. That GOAT never made noise. Never ever. Never had excessive vibration or anything like that. So, Tim, I'm not here to pick on you. I'm not here to fuss and fight, but I'm like, if you know this is a possibility of happening, and even with your, quote, evidence that you're getting from other people that say, oh, it hasn't happened to my bike. You got 9 people that say it hasn't happened to their bike. You're fine. Dude, you got 200 miles on your bike. I answered you today and I said, just adjust that doohickey every 3,000 miles. Keep riding the bike. Don't be afraid to ride it. If it's under 12,000 miles, then they have to fix it anyway. But for me, when I first got that bike, I planned on doing a ton of road trips. So I did. I didn't want to be broke down on the side of the road over some stupid shit, like a design failure that Kawasaki's never going to admit. Alright. MT8 on the porch. We're done. Next subject is going to be the thermal body. We'll talk to you later.